Hi everyone, and welcome back to Maverick Games Learning and Support. It's Dwayne here, and today I'm going to talk about how you can add some flavor to your D&D games in 3 easy steps. Let's get into it. I've been playing Dungeons & Dragons for a long time now, so often that I get caught up in the larger picture of my campaigns. I'm currently running 4 of them, so it's a real challenge to make sure that I give each one of them a specific identity and not devolve into just going through the motions or quote-unquote phoning it in. It's common to arrive at a point where in the moment-to-moment gameplay, it becomes a chore to slog through it all until you reach the exciting part of the narrative, a boss fight or important encounter perhaps. But what about those calmer moments that fill in the gaps and bring your game world alive? How do you infuse the game with that same level of flavor when you aren't fighting dragons or all-powerful vampire lords? Let's take the most common scene in a game of D&D, the tavern. In most games, taverns serve as a backdrop for the players to meet and discuss the adventure ahead. It's kind of like the cheers of the D&D game. Everyone knows your name. But the same can't be said of the players knowing everyone else's name. Take a moment to think about all the people that might inhabit the player's chosen waterhole, and circle in on 1 or 2 individuals. These NPCs don't have to be integral to the main plot or even have anything to do with the adventure at all, but they can serve to add an extra layer to the canvas you're painting. Maybe a barmaid isn't just a barmaid. Maybe she's a young woman working 2 jobs trying to support her wounded adventurer husband who is bedridden. You can have her open up to the characters in a way that maybe gives them a glimpse into her world. Another opportunity might present itself in the form of describing the food quality the players are eating. Take a moment to craft up a brief description of just how awesome that meal is and that the player hasn't eaten a meal like this in a long time. See where they go with it. Pull any little detail from the environment around the players and give it a moment in the spotlight. Imagine yourself in a restaurant or whatever the surroundings that they find themselves in and focus on an aspect of it to embellish. Forest, dungeon, whatever the setting is. The little things in your story can be just as flavorful as the set pieces. One of the things I try to do in my games is to identify my background characters or NPCs with a name versus a general title. Part of this came when I was a young dungeon master and I got caught by my players for generalizing everyone in the game world. The barkeep, the peasant, the sheriff, the mayor, the blacksmith, etc. My clever players would often try and catch me off guard and ask their names, to which I immediately activated my name-on-the-fly talent, but not without stumbling a few seconds. The point being is I learned to give forethought to these background characters just in case it ever happened again, and boy does it ever. In one of my campaigns, I have a young drama student, and he routinely calls me out when a character is introduced, but not fleshed out. He and I will then engage in a little bit of a drama off to see how far down the rabbit hole I've gone with the character details. He tries to trip me up, but little does he know he's dealing with a master. Not everything in your game session needs to move at breakneck speeds. Try not to gloss over some aspects of your game that could bring out a little flavor for the players. Think of your storytelling as a camera in the movies or a TV series. How many times has a scene in a show lingered over a small aspect of what's on screen to give it attention? The next time a player says, "I attack with my sword," maybe to describe something like, "You grip the leather of your blade tightly, remembering how it has been your trusted ally in many fights." Perhaps after a battle, you can describe how the characters are feeling, exhausted, worn, sore, to give them a sense of what they have gone through versus just saying you have 12 hit points left, you want to take a short rest. Let the camera linger on calm moments of resting and inter-party communication. One technique that I am trying is to emphasize what happens during a long or short rest from a narrative point of view. During my party's last rest, I went around the group and asked each of them 3 questions. What is your character eating while he or she is resting? Who are you having a conversation with during your rest? And what are you talking about or doing besides resting? Giving them a chance to respond will help them realize that they are participating in a shared story. It's not just a dungeon simulation, and that game mechanics actually do translate into an imaginative scene. These are just a few examples of how you can add flavor to your games of D&D with little effort and little forethought. Not everything in D&D needs to be about exciting set pieces or boss fights. Some of my most treasured experiences in D&D came from sitting in a tavern and having a look around at all the other adventurers in the room and wondering what the heck they were up to. I hope you're all having fun playing Dungeons & Dragons, and I will talk to you soon.
before you go, I need your help. I'm trying to grow the exposure of what we do here at Maverick Games. My goal is to actually bring information to parents and students for fun, academics, and even support of neurodivergency. Please subscribe and make sure you click on those notifications. I don't do paid ads or sponsorships. I hope that you can find content here that's enjoyable for yourself and maybe others. Thank you very much, and thanks for tuning in.